In the appointment section, we discussed questioning and listening techniques that help you to establish rapport and trust with your prospect. By this point, you've matched the benefits of your product with their needs. Depending on the product or service you're selling, the right time for the formal presentation varies. In a lot of industries, the initial meeting and the formal presentation are conducted in one sitting. In industries with costly or complex requirements, the journey from initial meeting to final presentation can take 6 months or more. Successful presentations require knowledge, sincerity, and passion. In the Improving Your Game lesson, you learn the value of sincerity and passion. In this lesson, you're going to learn the value of knowledge as applied to your presentation.
The first thing you have to know is yourself, your strengths and your weaknesses. The second thing you need to know is your prospect and what is most important to them. Once you know those answers, you build your presentation accordingly. Some salespeople work with predetermined or memorized presentations. The problem with this kind of presentation is it sounds canned or robotic. I'm sure you've gotten these just as you sat down for dinner. The salesperson sounds like they're reading a script off a computer screen because that's exactly what they're doing, reading a script off a computer screen. Why do they do this? A canned presentation ensures that inexperienced salespeople cover their key points of their presentation. The disadvantage: reading a script off a computer screen demonstrates a general lack of knowledge, sincerity, and passion in their delivery.
In the approach and appointment sections, we emphasize the importance of using an outline. That holds for presentations as well. You'll want an outline to steer you and the prospect through your presentation. We'll talk more about presentation tools later, but realize that all the data you gathered in the approach and appointment sections goes a long way towards filling in your presentation outline. Now, based upon their responses to your question, you've uncovered your prospect's problems and needs. Use your outline to ensure that you're communicating the right message to your prospect at the right time.
During the sales presentation, develop an imaginary bridge that moves your prospect from being an interested viewer into an engaged participant. Let me tell you what I mean. A relationship salesperson takes features and translates them into benefits for the prospect. A feature is simply an attribute of a product or service. A benefit, however, is a value or pleasure derived through the use of that product or service. For example, a feature of toothpaste is that it contains fluoride. Fluoride prevents cavities and keeps your teeth healthy. The benefit of using toothpaste with fluoride is healthy teeth. Healthy teeth give the user a nicer smile. But a nicer smile makes the user more attractive to others. People don't buy toothpaste for fluoride. They buy it to be more attractive to others. Remember, features tell and benefits sell.
The tools you use in making your presentation can vary. Sometimes it's a face-to-face conversation between you and the prospect, with no samples, brochures, or backup materials. In other cases, presentations are more complex, utilizing PowerPoints, product samples, case studies, and testimonials. Regardless of your presentation you're making, the key is to get your prospect engaged and involved. The worst presentation is when the prospect just sits there, nods his head, and doesn't ask any questions. If that's their response to your presentation, you are well on your way to failure. The burden falls on you to make sure your presentation is interesting and your prospect is engaged in participating. As you're presenting, ask questions. Find out how they feel about what you're talking about. Do whatever it takes to keep them active and involved.
Now, testimonials enhance your presentation and can assist you in making the sale. Most prospects are deathly afraid of making mistakes. Prospects view testimonials from satisfied customers as credible. By bringing in success stories from satisfied clients, you reduce your prospects' fears. For most prospects, the expression "safety in numbers" makes them feel more confident when it comes to decision making.
Here are some ideas on making successful presentations. First, don't just read off your PowerPoints. Let the bullet points guide your presentation. Supplement the bullet points by talking about important facts and key data. This could be market information, anecdotal stories, or other material that positions you as a partner or a value-added resource.
Second, keep your presentations short. Even if they're interested, the average prospect zones out in a sales presentation within 60 minutes. For that reason, Plan your presentations to be 30 minutes or less. With a lower cost product, you'll be lucky to get more than 15 to 30 minutes with a prospect.
Third, don't kill your prospects with too much information. View your sales presentation as an executive summary. Give your prospect an overview of the value you're providing. Too much data tends to confuse prospects. Omitting information from your presentation can serve as an advantage. It encourages prospects to ask clarifying questions and to stay involved.
Fourth, focus on return on investment. In today's business world, cost, or should I say cost savings, is king. Although numerous factors contribute towards a prospect's final decision, return on investment is paramount. If you present a compelling argument for doing business with you and further justify that decision with a positive return on investment, you're not just a relationship salesperson anymore. You've evolved into a rock star, which means that you're going to get the sale. Fifth, you're the rock star. The PowerPoints, samples, demonstrations, testimonials, case studies, videos, and music are there to support you and your story, not the other way around. Remember that.
It's quiz time. Time to see what you've learned. Question number 1. When developing a presentation for their prospect, what must a relationship salesperson consider? Is it A, they must already know what their prospect's priorities or hot buttons are? B, they must be aware of their own strengths and weaknesses? C, they must determine what type of presentation style would work best to achieve their goals? Or D, all of the above are important considerations?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And the answer is D. All of the above are important considerations. You must know what your prospect's priorities or hot buttons are. You must be aware of your own strengths and weaknesses. You must determine what type of presentation style will work best to achieve your goals. Question number 2. Which of the following statements about canned presentations is true? Is it A, a canned presentation enables an inexperienced salesperson to cover the key points of their presentation? B, only experienced salespeople are meant to use canned presentations? C, when a salesperson reads a script directly off a computer screen, it sometimes demonstrates a general lack of knowledge, sincerity, and passion to the prospect? D, A and B? Or E, A and C?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And the answer is E. A canned presentation enables an inexperienced salesperson to cover the key points of their presentation, and when a salesperson reads a script directly off a computer screen, it sometimes demonstrates a general lack of knowledge, sincerity, and passion to the prospect. Question number 3. Even an experienced and highly competent salesperson may use an outline to help guide them through their presentation to ensure that they're communicating key points to their prospect at the right time. Is it A, true, or B, false?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And the answer is A. Even an experienced and highly competent salesperson may use an outline. Question number 4. Which of the following statements about features and benefits is false? Is it A, a feature is the value or pleasure derived through the use of a product or service? B, a feature is an attribute or description of a product or service? C, features tell and benefits sell? D, a benefit is the value or pleasure derived through the use of a product or service? Or E, all of the above statements are true?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And the answer is A. A feature is not the value or pleasure derived through the use of a product or service. That is the definition of a benefit. Question number 5. Which of the following is not a common mistake that salespeople make when giving presentations? Is it A, they read directly off their PowerPoint slides, B, they give too much information and data to their prospects and create confusion, C, they focus on return on investment, or ROI, D, they speak for extensive amounts of time and their prospects may zone out, or E, all of these are common mistakes that salespeople make.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And the answer is C. Focusing on the return on investment is not a mistake that salespeople make when giving presentations. So to recap, the value of knowledge is applied to your presentation. The first thing you have to know is yourself, your strengths and your weaknesses. The second thing you need to know is your prospect and what is important to them. When talking about features and benefits, remember that a feature is simply an attribute of a product or service, while a benefit is the value or pleasure derived through the use of that product or service. Remember that features tell and benefits sell. Tips on making a successful presentation. 1. Don't just read off your PowerPoints. 2. Keep your presentation short. Remember that the average prospect zones out within 60 minutes, so plan your presentations to be 30 minutes or less. Number 3. Don't kill your prospects with too much information. Omitting information from your presentation can serve as an advantage. Number 4, focus on the return on investment. And number 5, you're the rock star. The PowerPoints, samples, demonstrations, testimonials, case studies, videos, and music are there to support you and your story, not the other way around. Congratulations! You've completed Chapter 7. In Chapter 8, Dealing with Objections, you'll learn great ways to deal with your prospects' objections.